13 innings, 2 runs on 4 hits and 2 errors for the Mets. Here on opening day at Shea, Pat Perry is the winner. He is 1-0 on the year. Randy Neiman takes the loss, even though he faced only 2 batters. He is 0-2. And we'll see you Thursday. Tim?
Mets baseball has been brought to you by Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. By manufacturers Hanover Trust, we realize your potential. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive the all-new 1987 Nissan Sentra at your Nissan dealer now. By Burger King. Their new chicken tenders are real chicken fillets, not processed nuggets. By RC Cola, people go out of their way for the taste of RC. By your tri-state Lincoln Mercury Mercer dealers. And by Metropolitan Life and affiliated companies, a leader in insurance and financial services. Fans, be with us again on Thursday afternoon when the Mets take on the same St. Louis Cardinals at 1:30 right here on WOR. Now stay tuned for Kiners Korner. And as promised, Ralph's special guest today, the star of the game, Ozzie Smith. The executive producer of Mets Baseball 86 is Rick Miner. Produced and directed by Bill Webb. Associate directors, Jeff Mitchell, Steve Oldbaum, and Tom Schaffery. Technical operations manager, Arthur Gress. Technical director, Bob Goodman. And our statistician, Arthur Friedman. Promotional consideration was provided by the True Value Hardware Stores and Home Centers. Watch your favorite team anywhere you go with the Casio LCD Pocket Television with clear black and white reception. Compliments of True Value Hardware Stores and Home Centers. By Wayne Scott. You never get a second shot at a first impression. Impress the first time with Wayne Scott shirts. Knits, sweaters, and outerwear for young men. Available at stores everywhere. That's Wayne Scott. Mets Baseball 86 is a production of Channel 9 Sports. Production facilities arranged through Banda Communications. The announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Doubleday Sports Incorporated. Good evening, everyone.
Now at your Renault and Jeep dealer, it's the Spring Savings Spectacular with 7.7% financing. Save hundreds on every new Renault. Save even more with special value packages. Or choose 9.9% financing on Jeep Comanche, on the one-of-a-kind Jeep Cherokee, and Jeep Wagoneer. Plus, for the first time ever, 9.9% on Jeep Grand Wagoneer.
Your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut AMC Jeep Renault dealers, the right guys.
The rush hour, that inhuman race to catch the evening news, is over. Because now you don't have to rush home to see a complete evening newscast. News 9 prime time at 8 p.m. All the news from world to local events to the latest word on sports and weather. News 9 prime time, 8 p.m. The end of the rush hour.
Finally.
William Holden and Kim Novak sizzle in the Academy Award-winning drama Picnic, presented with limited commercial interruption, tonight at 9.
Kiners Korner is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors. Mitsubishi takes you where you want to be. By Miller Beer. Miller made the American way since 1855. And by NatWest USA. The people and the resources you need today and tomorrow.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Kiners Korner, the 25th year of these post-game interviews, and we're happy to have you with us as the Mets start their 25th season. And the show that we're putting together here tonight, a little bit longer than in the past, and we'll be having interviews. The interview tonight with Ozzie Smith, also highlights of the ball game, special features, and also a light beer scoreboard. We'll be back to talk to Ozzie Smith, the star of the ball game, in just a moment, right after this message from Miller High Life.
On June 8, 1984, the tornado struck Barneveld, Wisconsin. About the only thing left standing was the water tower.
After the tornado, people said this is the end of a small town. Barneveld said not this small town.
Around here, folks will always pitch right in when something gets out of hand.
Just thought we can make it, we can rebuild, we can come back, and we have.
A place where people have a sense of pride, and that's what keeps them right here. Where you count on your own, you call it your home, and Miller's the beer. Miller's made the American way, born and brewed in the USA, just as proud as the people who are drinking it today.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Some towns are held together with nails and wood, but this town's held together with a lot of pride and a lot of family.
Miller's made the American way.
Trucks, trucks, and more trucks. Question is, how does Mitsubishi become your truck? Your Mitsubishi Motors dealer knows. Right now, he can pass along unbelievable factory incentives on Mighty Max, Mitsubishi's best-selling, lowest-price pickup. Nobody in the class can beat Mighty Max's long wheelbase and cargo bed. And not even Toyota or Nissan can beat our price.
Right now, there are two great ways to drive a Mighty Max. Buy one, or lease one for just $119 a month, zero down. But hurry!
Well, the St. Louis Cardinals won the first meeting in the regular season between the Mets and Cardinals, and Ozzie Smith, our special guest, the hero of the ball game. And Ozzie, going back to the start of spring training, you had that sore arm from last year, and there was some doubt whether or not you'd come back from a rotator cuff.
Well, you know, it's always, when you start talking about rotator cuffs, it's a serious injury, and it had happened to me once before in college, you know, so I knew it was one of those things that if you rest it, it will heal by itself. And we were banking that a little rest this winter and exercise would bring it back. And to this point, I'm able to throw without any pain, and that's what we were trying to achieve coming into this season.
And the Cardinals told you not to do that backflip that you always did for special occasions. What happened there?
Well, with the type of flip that it was, it put a lot of strain on the particular area that I hurt. So they felt it in the best interest of everybody concerned that I did not do it. So I had my son do it.
I was going to bring that up. You did have a designated backflipper, right?
That's right. He's a designated backflipper, and I thought he was going to back out on me, but he took it. You know, he went out and said, hey, I'm going to do it. He's 3 years old, and it was a fun evening. People enjoyed it.
Well, your brilliant career started with the San Diego Padres. You were traded to the Cardinals for another fine shortstop, and before that trade came about, you were offered a job by the owner of the San Diego Padres to be a gardener.
Yeah, that was way back early in my career, and I've come a long way since then.
You certainly have, and certainly one of the greatest shortstops to have ever played this ball game. Let's take a look at some of the action in the ball game. Ozzie got the first hit of the ball game, scored the first run of the ball game, also drove in two. And right here, it's Gary Carter at the plate. Ground ball to Ozzie. Good return over to second for the start of the double play, and Ozzie again with that great glove. Right here, it's Ozzie coming to with a score at 4-2. And the ball pulled down the right field line. Two-run score as Landrum comes in. He had reached on an error, and Pendleton, who got in after being on base with a bunt. Ozzie, the most important thing that we've noticed in a very short time this year is the fact that you're pulling the ball as a left-hand batter. It started back at the end of the season last year in the playoffs and also the World Series, and you're pulling the ball as a left-hand batter.
Well, you know, as I've mentioned to you off camera, Ralph, my learning as far as hitting was concerned has been pretty much on the job. I've had a lot of people that have worked with me in my 8 years in playing in the big leagues now. Dave Ricketts, the hitting coach over there now, Johnny Lewis. I've also worked with a guy by the name of Lee Fisher. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to take all the things that people have given me to work with, and the things that I could use, I've stored it away, and things that I couldn't, I've thrown out. And, you know, things over the last couple of years have really started to come together for me offensively. People have always tried to get me out inside, and they're not going to change the way they get you out unless you make some type of adjustment, and, you know, that's what I've been trying to do.
And you have made that adjustment, no doubt about that. One of the things that you'll notice if you watch Ozzie Smith in pregame drills, especially in St. Louis where they have the artificial turf, you practice that high chopper that you come in to take on the short hop and pick it up with that glove and then throw.
Well, you know, sometimes people say, well, you know, you never really get plays like that, but basically what that's doing is it's working on my hand-and-eye coordination, having an idea of where the ball's going to go and how I have to do it in case it does happen in a game, and it's happened on occasion.
Well, you certainly are the center cornerstone of that ball club, the St. Louis Cardinals, who won 103 ball games last year, and you're off to a great start this year.
Well, you know, not 103, 101.
101,
but,
I should have said, yes.
You know, our ball club we don't have a lot of great big names and stuff like that, Ralph, but we're a group of guys who enjoy coming to the ballpark and seeing each other every day. Going through what we went through last year, I think, has made us all better, not only better players, but better people. It's just been exciting. Wlie Herzog is a superman to play for, and it's a real relaxed atmosphere, and everybody gives their all every day.
Ozzie, there was a story out in spring training that the Cardinal team resented, the team as a whole resented the publicity the Mets had been getting over in the fact that you had won the Eastern Division Championship and also the National League.
Let me say, I think the thing was more than anything, especially when we were in first place, I think the guys are just asking for whatever we're due. We're not asking for anything more. If we win and we're in first place, say that. And I think in a couple papers, you know, when we were in first place up by 3 games, it was never the Cardinals are in first place, it's the Mets keep pace. And I think that type of thing was what irritated some people, and the guys are just asking for what they're due, nothing more.
And they certainly did an awful lot last year and off to a great start this year. Ozzie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a fine game. We'll be back to look at the highlights of the ball game, also a special feature, and also the scoreboard in just a moment, right after this message from NatWest USA.
A new force has emerged in consumer banking, National Westminster Bank USA, with a commitment to excellence, with higher interest rates on CDs.
It's our bonus rate.
A prime benefits club for people 55 and over.
You get special rates and free services.
Helping our customers realize their borrowing power.
Congratulations. Your loans approved.
We're working harder to do more for our customers. NatWest USA, the people and the resources you need today and tomorrow.
Every bottle of Miller comes with a clear promise.
Miller's made the American way.
A promise that Miller beer has been brewed naturally.
Born and brewed in the USA.
And above all, a promise of purity. A promise that Miller beer contains no additives, no preservatives.
Miller's made the American way.
Miller beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Well, a fine crowd out here today, 47,752, and this is the way it looked. The highlights of the ball game. His honor, of course, always in the picture. There he is, the mayor of New York City, shaking a few hands, getting a few votes. Also, the former mayor of New York City, Mr. Richard Wagner, also in the ballpark and threw out the first ball. Here's Tim Tuffle, and he drives in the first run of the ball game with this long fly to right field. Andy Van Slyke backs to the fence to make the catch, and coming in to score is Ray Knight. The Mets are leading by a score of 1-0. They had not had a hit in the ball game at this point. Wlie McGee comes in here and singles up the middle, the infield in, because a runner at third base, Vince Goldman, who had tripled, and he can fly. And he came in to score, and it was a 1-1 game. Now in the top of the 8th inning, and Coleman the batter. This ball popped up. It looks like almost a routine play, but Santana and Foster combined for a juggling act, and a big out is made. But it wasn't the last out of the inning, and right after that, a base hit right here as the Cardinals take the lead by a score of 2-1. Watch the play at second. Hurdle, who had tagged up at first, goes over to second to get in scoring position, but he did not score as Ozzie came in to make it a 2-1 ball game. Now Keith Hernandez comes up, and Keith, in a situation looking for a base hit, almost gets it, but Ozzie Smith turns it into a forced play at second. Throw gets away, and Hernandez is safe at first. Wally Backman takes over as the pinch runner in this spot, steals second, and scores on Strawberry's base hit to left center field, and that ties the ball game up at 2-2, and that was in the bottom of the 9th inning. Although it stayed tied for quite a while, the ball game turned away as this ground ball goes through Howard Johnson with the bases loaded. 2 runs come in to score. McGee had an infield hit, and also behind him coming in to score. And it's now a 4-2 game. Tommy Hurd, the second runner to score right here. Here's Ozzie Smith as he pulls that ball into the right field corner and 2 more score. Ozzie Smith coming up with a base hit to score 2 and make it a 6-2 ball game. Now Gary Carter hits this ball to right field where it's put away by Tito Landrum, and that's the ball game, and the Cardinals win the first meeting between these two clubs this year in the regular season. We'll be back with a special feature edition right after this message from Mitsubishi Motors.
Trucks, trucks, and more trucks. Question is, how does Mitsubishi become your truck? Your Mitsubishi Motors dealer knows. Right now, he can pass along unbelievable factory incentives on Mighty Max, Mitsubishi's best-selling, lowest-price pickup. Nobody in the class can beat Mighty Max's long wheelbase and cargo bed. And not even Toyota or Nissan can beat our price.
Right now, there are 2 great ways to drive a Mighty Max. Buy one or lease one for just $119 a month, 0 down. But hurry!
A new force has emerged in commercial banking. National Westminster Bank USA. With a commitment to excellence through flexible lending products.
We can respond quickly. We know your industry.
Innovative cash management.
We can invest your funds earlier.
We're part of a $100 billion worldwide banking group.
Our international trade finance capabilities can help.
We're working harder to do more for our customers. NatWest USA. The people and the resources you need today and tomorrow.
Well, in our expanded Kiners Korner this year, a bit more time between the lines as we celebrate 25 years of Mets baseball.
After the Giants and Dodgers went west in '57, a National League Baseball void existed around here for 5 full years. But then the Mets came to town. Hard to believe, but that was 25 years ago. And what a time it was. Now, a lot of little kids from the 60s grew up to be big Mets fans here in the 80s. And, of course, we know Ralph Karn has been here from the very beginning. So now I think I'll just take my seat here in the front row and send it back to Ralph in the studio to wrap things up.
Okay, Carl Turkin, a fine job and some great memories. Casey Stengel, George Weiss, Mrs. Payson, and, of course, Ron Swoboda, Ed Kranepool, Ron Hunt, all those great names of the past, and Tom Seaver included. That's the way it was on that 25-year history of the New York Mets. We'll be back to get to the present time and look at the scoreboard on the Miller High Life scoreboard in just a moment, right after this message from Miller High Life.
Since I hung up my size 19 sneakers, Dave and I always get together for a few Miller Lights.
And argue about who was the greatest player.
You were the greatest.
No, Bob, you were.
At least we agree Lights taste is the greatest.
Yep, Lights also less filling. And you can't afford to get filled up when you're the great Bob Lanier.
Come on, Dave. You won the MVP and the championship. Those were the two biggest feats in basketball.
No, Bob. Those were the two biggest feats in basketball.
For the biggest taste, there's only one light beer. Miller Lite.
Trucks, trucks, and more trucks. Question is, how does Mitsubishi become your truck? Your Mitsubishi Motors dealer knows. Right now, he can pass along unbelievable factory incentives on Mighty Max, Mitsubishi's best-selling, lowest-price pickup. Nobody in the class can beat Mighty Max's long wheelbase and cargo bed. And not even Toyota or Nissan can beat our prices.
Right now, there are two great ways to drive a Mighty Max. Buy one or lease one for just $119 a month, zero down. But hurry!
Well, the St. Louis Cardinals outlasted the Mets by a score of 6-2. The Cardinals got 9 base hits. The Mets had only 4. Mets making 2 errors, and one of them a big one as 2 runs scored to break the 2-2 tie in the 13th inning. Pat Perry, the winning pitcher, in relief, and Neiman, the losing pitcher, Randy, the loser for the Mets, in relief. Paid crowd of 47,752 on the sellout crowd here at Shea Stadium on a beautiful day for baseball, but not for Mets fans.